Bats may look harmless, small, silent, fluttering through the night, but some of them carry viruses capable of wiping out entire villages, collapsing lungs in hours, or causing deadly fever outbreaks without a single bite. And make sure you stay until number 1, because this species is responsible for one of the most dangerous viruses known to humans. Welcome back to Top Wonder, the channel where we uncover the strangest, deadliest, and most unbelievable creatures on Earth. Today, we're counting down the 10 most dangerous bats in the world. These aren't monsters with fangs or giant wings, but real animals whose viruses, parasites, and diseases have caused some of the deadliest outbreaks in human history. From rabies to Ebola to Nipah virus, each bat on this list carries a terrifying threat. Let's begin. Number 10. Big brown bat Aptesicus fuscus. Across North America, inside attics, barns, churches, and abandoned buildings, lives a species many people barely notice, the big brown bat. At first glance, it looks almost cute, with soft chocolate brown fur, glossy black wings, and a rounded nose. But behind this harmless appearance lies one of the most common wildlife sources of rabies in the United States. Big brown bats often roost near human homes, which means the risk of accidental contact is surprisingly high. Wildlife departments across multiple states report that this species is responsible for a significant portion of yearly rabies exposures, from bats found crawling indoors, trapped in bedrooms, or handled by children who mistake them for injured animals. Rabies from bats is almost always fatal once symptoms appear. One case in 2021 involved an elderly man in Illinois who removed a sleepy big brown bat from his bedroom with his bare hands. The bat bit him without him noticing. Weeks later, he developed tingling in his fingers, confusion, and difficulty swallowing, classic signs of rabies. He died shortly after hospitalization. The big brown bat does not attack humans. Its danger comes from living so close to us that even the smallest accidental scratch or unnoticed bite can cost a life. Number 9. Little brown bat Myotis lucifugus. Small, quiet, and only weighing as much as a handful of paper clips, the little brown bat is one of the most widespread bat species across North America. With its silky brown fur and tiny pointed ears, it looks harmless, almost delicate. But this bat carries two major threats: rabies and a deadly fungal disease known as white nose syndrome. Rabies cases from little brown bats are reported every year, especially in northern states, where the species frequently enters homes through roof gaps or vents. Even more alarming is white nose syndrome, a fungus that grows on bats during winter hibernation. While the disease doesn't infect humans directly, its spores contaminate caves, mines, and old buildings. Tourists and cave explorers who disturb contaminated areas often inhale the fungal dust, leading to severe respiratory irritation and, in rare cases, long-term lung issues. In 2014, a family in New York discovered several little brown bats living in their attic. Days later, their dog carried a dead bat into the living room. Local animal control confirmed the bat was rabid, sending the entire family into emergency vaccination. A tiny, vulnerable-looking bat, yet one of the most common carriers of deadly disease. Number 8. Egyptian fruit bat Rusetus egypticus. With large amber eyes, fox-like faces, and white leathery wings, Egyptian fruit bats look more like adorable flying puppies than dangerous animals. Found from Africa to the Middle East, they play a major role in pollination, but they also serve as the natural reservoir for one of the most terrifying viruses known to science, the Marburg virus. Marburg is a close relative of Ebola. It causes sudden fever, violent vomiting, internal bleeding, organ failure, and a death rate reaching up to 90%. And Egyptian fruit bats can carry the virus without showing a single symptom, allowing it to spread silently through caves and abandoned mines. In 2007, tourists exploring a cave in Uganda became infected after visiting a site filled with Egyptian fruit bats. Several died from hemorrhagic fever. Investigators later confirmed that the bats were the source of the outbreak, even though none of the visitors touched one. Their beauty hides a virus that causes one of the deadliest diseases on Earth. Number 7. Greater horseshoe bat Rhinolophus ferumiquinum. This bat is easily recognized by the strange horseshoe-shaped structure on its nose, an adaptation used for echolocation that makes it look like a creature from a fantasy novel. But the greater horseshoe bat is connected to something far more serious: the evolution and spread of coronaviruses. Studies across Europe and Asia have found that this species carries multiple coronavirus strains, some of which are genetically related to viruses that have caused respiratory outbreaks in humans. Although it rarely comes into direct contact with people, its guano and saliva can contaminate caves, old tunnels, and abandoned buildings. Anyone entering without protective gear risks airborne exposure. Researchers investigating coronavirus origins in China, South Korea, and Eastern Europe frequently detect viral fragments in areas where these bats roost. While not the sole cause of any specific human outbreak, the greater horseshoe bat is considered one of the most important wildlife reservoirs of emerging respiratory viruses. A strange nose, a quiet lifestyle, and a viral library powerful enough to change the world. Number 6. Vampire bat Desmodus rotundus. Sleek, gray-brown, and surprisingly small, the vampire bat is often misunderstood. It doesn't suck blood, it licks it using razor-sharp front teeth to create a tiny incision. But behind this feeding behavior lies one of the most dangerous viral threats in the animal kingdom: rabies. Vampire bats are responsible for regular rabies outbreaks in rural parts of Mexico, Brazil, and Peru. They feed on livestock and, occasionally, sleeping humans. Their saliva is loaded with what experts call supercharged rabies, often causing death faster than strains carried by other animals. In 2010, a 24-year-old man in Peru died after a vampire bat bit his toe while he slept. Despite developing symptoms within days, he never sought treatment until it was too late, a tragic example of how quickly vampire bat rabies can kill. The vampire bat does not look terrifying, but a single bite can be a death sentence. And don't look away now, because the top 5 bats on this list are far more dangerous than anything you've seen so far. Some carry viruses that can kill in days, others triggered outbreaks that terrified entire countries. And number 1 is responsible for one of the deadliest diseases still threatening humanity today. Number 5. Mexican free-tailed bat Tautorida brasiliensis. If you've ever seen videos of millions of bats erupting from caves like a living river, you are probably watching Mexican free-tailed bats with narrow wings, long tails, and streamlined bodies built for fast flight. They form some of the largest animal colonies on Earth, and that sheer number is what makes them dangerous. Their guano accumulates in massive piles, often several feet deep, and becomes a breeding ground for a fungus that causes histoplasmosis, a severe lung infection. The spores become airborne, especially in enclosed spaces like caves, attics, or abandoned tunnels. In Texas, multiple cases of histoplasmosis outbreaks were traced back to caves containing huge colonies of Mexican free-tailed bats. Several explorers were hospitalized with fever, chest pain, and breathing difficulties after inhaling contaminated dust. They don't need to bite or scratch, just breathing near the wrong colony can put you in the hospital. Number 4. Indian flying fox Pteropus giganteus. With a wingspan stretching over 4 feet and a fox-like face framed by dark fur, the Indian flying fox is one of the most striking bat species in the world. But behind its impressive appearance lies a deadly secret. It is one of the primary carriers of the Nipah virus in India and Bangladesh. Nipah virus infection begins with fever and vomiting before quickly escalating into encephalitis, swelling of the brain, leading to seizures, coma, and fatal respiratory failure. The mortality rate ranges from 40 to 75%. Outbreak investigations have repeatedly traced human infections back to contaminated fruit or palm sap exposed to bats. In one 2018 outbreak in Kerala, India, a single introduction of Nipah led to 21 deaths and widespread panic across the region. The Indian flying fox is beautiful and ecologically important, but it carries one of the deadliest emerging viruses known to humanity. Number 3. Australian black flying fox Pteropus electo. Glossy black fur, long wings, and striking dog-like faces make the Australian black flying fox one of the most impressive megabats in the world. Yet it carries a devastating virus, Hendra. Hendra virus spreads from bats to horses and from horses to humans. Once infected, victims suffer high fever, respiratory collapse, and severe neurological damage. The human death rate is around 60%. A shocking case occurred in 2008 when an Australian veterinarian died after treating a horse infected with Hendra. The horse had contracted the virus from a roost of black flying foxes feeding in the orchard above its paddock. A beautiful giant of the Australian night sky, carrying a virus strong enough to kill both livestock and people. Number 2. Hammer-headed fruit bat Hypsognathus monstrosus. With its oversized head, elongated snout, and deep, resonant vocalizations, the hammer-headed fruit bat looks unlike any other bat on Earth, found across Central and West Africa. This species is one of the most important natural reservoirs for Ebola, one of the deadliest viruses ever recorded. Ebola causes rapid internal bleeding, multi-organ failure, and death rates that can exceed 70%. Studies have repeatedly detected Ebola antibodies in hammer-headed bats, suggesting they carry the virus asymptomatically. During the 1990s and early 2000s, several Ebola outbreaks were linked to people hunting or handling large fruit bats, including this species. Villages where these bats were captured often became epicenters of deadly epidemics. A strange-looking giant, but carrying a virus capable of wiping out entire communities. Number 1. Giant fruit bat, large flying fox Pteropus vampirus. Majestic, powerful, and with a wingspan reaching nearly 5 feet, the large flying fox is the largest bat on the planet and one of the most dangerous. It is closely linked to multiple outbreaks of Nipah virus in Southeast Asia, a pathogen with a horrifying mortality rate of up to 75%. Unlike some species that transmit viruses only through bites, the large flying fox spreads pathogens through saliva, urine, feces, and partially eaten fruit. Farmers harvesting fruit from contaminated orchards or drinking raw date palm sap exposed to bats have triggered deadly outbreaks. In 1999, the first major Nipah outbreak in Malaysia killed over 100 people and led to the mass culling of more than 1 million pigs. Investigators traced the origin back to bat droppings falling into pig enclosures. A massive, magnificent creature, but the deadliest bat species alive today. So, which bat on this list surprised you the most? The cone-snouted hammer-headed bat carrying Ebola? The beautiful flying foxes linked to Nipah and Hendra? Or the tiny attic-dwelling bats quietly spreading rabies? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next countdown from the wild, deadly, and unbelievable world of nature, only here on Top Wonder.